Hello,
Is that your
everyone.
intro?
That's the intro. That's the intro. Do you like it?
Oh, I didn't really hear it.
Oh,
I just heard some kind of like drum beat and then hello everyone.
okay. That's the intro. It's from a guy named Paul Bagley from Calgary. I guess when I was doing when I entered the East Village contest, they the people that were helping to help set up this song for me. So that's the intro. Hi, yes, we're on. Uh, Welcome to Saturday Stories on Agree or Disagree, the podcast. It is Kevin. The voice you are listening to right as we were talking is pretty well known in social media circles all across Calgary and soon around Canada, probably then North America, and then the world. She is Brittany Brander. She has started her own women's entrepreneurship magazine. Is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah, I would say it's a digital magazine for women entrepreneurs.
Okay, called Bloom. Yes,
Yeah.
bloom.com. Build a business that matters. And she's accepting advertisers, and she has a very interesting story and has joined us today for Saturday Stories, drinking a coffee. How are you?
Thank you. Great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm excellent. I didn't just get up not a half an hour ago because I was watching late night Netflix at all. So don't, yeah. Um, so tell us a
We've all
little.
been there.
Yeah, we've all been there. It's true. It's very rare that I've done that, but I guess I needed to do it. Take us back, because you've been a blogger. What got you into
Hmm.
all of this? What got you into blogging, first of all?
Well, my first blog was actually a food blog. It was called Miss Epicure, and the reason that I wanted to start that blog was to journal, have like an online journal of my weight loss journey. So I did a 30-day clean eating challenge, and it really wasn't for anyone else, just myself. But I felt like I'd be able to keep it up if it was a blog, and there was a little bit of accountability. And I actually published out these um, like days of this challenge, different blogs, every day, and recipes, and it just kind of evolved from there. Um, and then I ran that for a couple years, and then I was having coffee with a friend, and we were talking about bourbon and then marshmallows, and I was like, oh my gosh, bourbon and marshmallows make a great lifestyle blog. And I had kind of grown a little tired of just publishing content around food, and I wanted to expand that out. And so I slept on bourbon and marshmallows, and I didn't really love it. But then bourbon and honey happened. Um, and I just fell in love with the name and bought the domain bourbonandhoney.co, and just started blogging about life, food, fashion, fitness, YYC, like everything. And then out of that came the Feature Friday, and from that, and just getting in, like just being involved with the social media community in Calgary, I got involved with YYC Pizza Week, and from there I met my first client. And then Bourbon and Honey, about 14 or 15 months ago, actually went from a blog to being a business. And then the magazine is kind of the side business to my side business.
So you have a side hustle to the side hustle.
Yeah, because I work full time at Fort Calgary, and then Bourbon and Honey would be my side business, and then Bloom would be kind of the side to that. There, there are a few things that I really want to accomplish with Bourbon and Honey, and the magazine was the second of the four things.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the four things you want to accomplish.
So this is pretty recent, coming up with this vision for, the business. I never ever thought that I'd, one, have a business, and two, that I'd have such a tight vision around it. And I'm not a huge believer in business plans, because I think by the time you actually write the thing, it becomes, obsolete. I understand that I'll have to do it if I ever want investors, but I say have a vision over have a business plan, because a vision, you know, you have that long-term goal and of what you want to accomplish, and then there's steps in between there. So when I didn't even sit down to like do this visioning. It just kind of happened, and there were so many different things that I had wanted to do with my time, and I just figured, you know what, let's just do it all under the umbrella of Bourbon and Honey, because that's established. It's a brand that people know. It's what they recognize. So the first one was actually establishing the consultant side of things, and that's kind of, it's evolved in the last, like, what did I say, 15 months?
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
I had an incredible client meeting this morning. Basically, like, one client turns into 3 different businesses to 3 different contracts, which is like a gold mine. Kind of niched myself into this home garden real estate industry, which is really interesting because I never thought that that's where I'd end up. But that's who's been finding me for the, you know, the agency side of things. So I just said, you know what, don't fight it, Brittany. Just lean into this and just be the real estate marketing expert. So that's kind of where I'm taking that, is just we're going to focus on home and garden. So landscaping companies, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, home builders, renovations, you know, florists, anything, decorators, interior designers, the whole thing. And then the second thing was the magazine. I had wanted to publish something for as long as I can remember. And I say this in my letter from the editor, you know, back then it was, you know, I wanted to publish something that had to do with like unicorns and the Berenstain Bears, but going through my own journey of entrepreneurship and realizing that, yeah, you know, there's lots of great resources out there, but magazines, and, you know, because I had this dream, there was this opportunity, you know, I started going to my community of women entrepreneurs in Calgary, and I just said, hey, listen, I have this crazy idea, but what do you think? And not a single person said that it was a bad idea or that they didn't support it. So I knew that, you know, they would find value in it, that there was a space in the publishing market in Calgary for this magazine, because it's digital, you know, it could potentially go anywhere. I'm not focused just on Calgary or just Canada. The majority of my audience is in North America, but I think it could go global. There's only one other magazine that is doing what I'm doing, and it's in New Zealand. So I kind of entered the market at the right time, with the right idea, with the right passion. And the response to this magazine has been amazing. And I launched the first issue without advertising because I just wanted to test it. I just wanted to see what the response would be, you know, what kind of readership I'd get in the first month, in the first 2 months. And so far we're doing quite well. We're starting at a point where it took me like 2 years with Miss Epicure and Bourbon and Honey to build that audience to the point of where it is, and now we're kind of starting. That's my baseline with Bloom. So I mean, I'm just kind of capitalizing on the work that I did with Bourbon and Honey, but it's been kind of a dream come true. I was crying a little bit when I launched it on October 1st.
I can understand. Yeah, I would totally relate with that. In the crying part, not the launching the magazine part. But although that could happen for me too, for sure. Who have been some of your influences getting here, and whatever?
Ooh. So a few of my influences, one, probably not a lot of people would associate her with entrepreneurship, but her name is Christine Kane, and she's actually she's a pastor down in Hillsong Church, and she travels the world teaching at churches. And she recently started an organization called Propel Women, which is all leadership resources for women who own businesses. And just her passion for life and her passion for, you know, every little bit of work that she does is inspiring to me. On a more local level, I think one of my biggest inspirations is Lorda Swan, who owns Soma Spa, and then she started, and the amount of stuff that woman takes on, and she does it with grace, and she does it with unbelievable professionalism. I mean, she's probably the person that I want to be in 10, 15 years.
Anyone else?
I could probably come up with a couple more, but I mean, I'll leave it there.
Okay. What have been, because one of the things that I'm hearing is that you had an idea going into this, but the ideas have changed, and so it sounds like to me, I would take from knowing you even a little bit too, that you're a very good listener. I would say that would be a really.
I think my parents would disagree.
Well, they're wrong on this point. What have been some of the lessons that you've learned in terms of listening that has helped you get this far?
Oh. I think lessons that I've learned about listening specifically?
Sure, and other lessons, like some of the lessons that you've learned here.
Well, I think one of the biggest entrepreneurship lessons that I've learned is you just gotta go for it. You know, life is short. You shouldn't spend a day doing something that you're not loving or you're not serving other people. I guess a lesson in listening that I've learned is if you're talking all the time, you can't do great work because you're not actually hearing what your audience needs and what your audience wants. So sometimes you need to just stop. You need to ask them questions, and then you need to not talk. That was not an intelligent statement at all. But basically, I especially in marketing, like I feel like if you're not listening, you're just not doing your job. Nope, that was too. Oh my gosh, you're gonna edit this, right?
Nope.
Because this is terrible.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying because you're just like I actually thought it was a great point. If you're not, did you say? If you're always talking, you're not doing your job. Like you're not, because I think it's people. I think a lot of people think that the idea of being a marketer and an entrepreneur or a salesperson or anyone in that field has to be a really big talker, has to be very extroverted, has to be really outgoing, has to be bigger than life and almost be control the room. And you don't present that presentation at all. I almost would say you're the exact opposite of it.
Well, and I think, how we approach marketing is changing because audiences are very smart, they're very sophisticated, they demand a lot more from the brands that they buy from, and the way that we approach marketing has to evolve as we evolve, as our technology evolves. And so, now I think it's a lot easier for someone who maybe said, I don't want to get into marketing, I don't want to get into PR, I don't want to get into social media because I have to be a certain way. And I don't think that that's true. I mean, a lot of what we do is, especially like in content marketing and social media, it doesn't really matter what type of marketing. I just find that, the more you stop talking and the more you start listening to your audience and what they really want, then you're going to start producing better marketing campaigns, more relevant marketing campaigns. You're going to start producing, tweets that actually make sense, that people want to see. You're going to start producing blog posts that people want to read, and they're not going to bounce off your site. So I think it's very important to just shut up. Shut up.
I'm going to tweet that. Shut up.
No.
No, it's true. No, it's true. So what has been, like, yeah, so kind of talk about the conversations that you're having with marketers right now. What is kind of the demand? What is the need? Um, what are you, what are people hoping to get out of the work that you do in terms of expectations? Do you find them too high? Um, talk about that.
Yeah, I think I'm very clear with any new client that comes on board what I can do for them and what they can expect from that. I mean, the results you can try and you can work and yeah, there are certain strategies and there are certain kind of best practices that you can use to make sure that you get results, but you can't guarantee results ever. You can't put out a Facebook ad and say, I'm going to get you like from this ad. You can't do it. um, so I think I'm very clear about those expectations up front and just saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's the process. Here's the workflow. Here's our communication. Here's like, and everything is just kind of outlined. And I just feel like the more honest you are with your clients, the more honest you are with your audience, then the more respect you'll earn in return. Um, yeah, I hope that answered the question.
I did, yep. Uh, and 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 you're very busy right now, obviously.
That's an understatement.
Yes, you're obviously very busy. You're like, duh. I'm only working 92 hours a week, so like, duh.
No, I don't actually. I don't. A lot of my client content I hired out to an incredible social media coordinator, and then I predominantly work on the strategy and the client relations, and then I focus a lot of energy on Bloom.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And so, how are you picking? Yeah, that's would be curious, and then we'll talk about like life lessons, and then we're going to get into the magazine a little bit. But how have you picked the people that you have worked with in terms of even campaigns and finding people to work with overall, like to partner with?
Like not on a client level.
Yeah, even client level, or like, hey, I want to work with you as a coordinator, or I want to team up with you as we do a campaign, because you did some work with Amber Romanek, and I always kill her name, but Amber, um, and like how have you found and created relationship with people to get to where you are today?
Well, I think part of it was learning how to find my tribe, as it were. And I found some great allies in the YYC Girl Gang and Social Media Breakfast. I think that's where I started a lot of my relationship building, and I think that's how we met actually.
Yes.
Social Media Breakfast,
Yep.
and just getting out there and connecting and not being afraid to just say, "Hey, here's what I'm working on." Like, anyone want to help me? Because you can't run a business alone. You absolutely cannot do it. It just requires a community. But I'm not, as long as I think I have a set of values that I use to govern my business, and if client or potential partner does not align with those, then I'm not going to spend time, working with them, because I mean, if we can't even agree on some basic values, then well, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. But so I think, yeah, your value system has allowed you to say no comfortably and gracefully, I
It's
think.
not without its guilt.
Hmm.
I still say no, but sometimes I feel really guilty. There was a time in, um, I think it was June, where I had three potential clients, big content marketing projects, probably worth anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000, and I had to say no to it because the agency that I was working for did not like the fact that I was running my own business. So I had to decline a chunk of money and a chunk of relationship and some really good relationships that that didn't end up serving me or my community in the end.
And how did that, but what was the outcome of that?
Outcome of saying no to those?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to say. I haven't gotten those relationships, haven't gotten that business back. But yeah, this is a hard question. I was really honest in my email, and I think they all kind of appreciated that I did have that level of honesty, that I just said, you know what, I can't take this on right now. I'm really sorry. I have people that I can refer you to. And so I didn't damage any relationships, but I still wish that I would have retained that business.
Fair enough.
It's so stupid because the thing at the agency didn't work out, and it ended up being a really toxic situation. But would have, could have, should have, I guess.
Yeah, and what have been some of the obvious successes? Have been you've launched your online magazine. What have been some of the other successes, and what has been some of the big lessons that you've learned along the way? You've talked a little bit about you can't run a business alone, creating relationships, listening. What else?
Right. I think running a business is really uncomfortable, and you have to, entrepreneurship is not for the people who don't want to take risk, who are okay with, staying in their comfortable lives. Entrepreneurship is for and I'm pretty sure there are people who totally disagree with this, but I think entrepreneurship is the people who lean into that discomfort, who are okay with taking that risk, chasing their dreams. Discomfort it's good. And I think when you feel that discomfort, it means you're stepping into something that, it's new, it's exciting, and you're moving into the unknown. And I think when you step into that, that's where you find your true grit. You find what you're capable of. And it's going to feel really crappy in the beginning, but with the discomfort, and I think if you press through, you're going to find that you've created something amazing. And ounce of discomfort that you felt. I think another lesson is it's a lot harder than you think, and it takes more work than you think. A lot of people, I think what they see is they see the magazine, they see the blog, they see the Instagram, but they don't see the amount of work that it took. They don't see the emails that I sent out to contributors. They don't see the emails back and forth with my designer. They don't see the fact that magazine went through 4 or 5 different iterations before it got to that point. I think if we look at business and entrepreneurship as the final product, it's really easy to assume that it's easy to do, and then we end up romanticizing it and think everyone can do it, when not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Not everyone can run a magazine. Not everyone can run a marketing company. Not everyone can move to Vancouver and chase their dreams. It's incredibly difficult and requires a lot more than you think. It requires you to dig a little deeper, think a little bit smarter, work a little bit harder. But when you do that hard work and you can look back and say, you know what, I did that. And, I'm kind of sitting here a week or so after Bloom launch, and, I still get chills when I go on the website and I say, you know what, I did that. I pulled together a bunch of people to create this magazine and I think back to all the late night emails and, the text files and the design files and everything. And I'm just thinking, you know what, it was totally worth it, because even if one woman sees this and says, Yep. That helped me build a business that mattered to myself, mattered to my family, mattered to my community. Well, then it's done its job, and it's worth every ounce of investment that I've put in, every ounce of time and work that I've put in.
Cool. Cool. So let's talk about the magazine. Oh,
Oh,
go.
I have one more lesson.
Okay,
One more
no,
lesson.
keep, yeah,
Sorry.
tell us, keep talking. This is about you.
So
It's not, it's, yeah.
I think the biggest thing is you have to take time for yourself. Being an entrepreneur is busy. Busy doesn't always mean productive. Um, I don't like using the word hustle, just because when I hear hustle, I think burnout. Because I've been there, I've hustled, and I've burnt out. And I almost closed Bourbon and Honey 2 months after it started because I just worked too hard. That's when I was working, 100-hour weeks and still trying to find time to work out and have a life and go to church and, do all the things that I need to be doing because society says you need to do all of these things. So it was just, I ended up, working myself into a really bad, mental health situation. And it's really important for entrepreneurs and especially women entrepreneurs because a lot of my audience, they're moms, they have families, they have household responsibilities as well as a marriage, as well as their business and also leading their own lives. It's tough, but it's okay to take a break. It's okay to say no to a project to protect your time and your energy and your mental health. I mean, it's vital to the success of your business and your life that you do take a break. But it could be something really simple, or you could go on like a weekend getaway. But the fact that you take a break is what's important. That you take a step back for your business and just relax. And then I think you come back to your work, you come back to your business with renewed focus, and you feel refreshed, and you feel more productive.
So I want to pick on this a little bit because you said something, not pick in a negative way, but just pick on it or expand on that. What's the difference between being busy and being productive?
I think being busy is just doing things for the sake of filling your time. Productivity to me is you're getting things done. What do they say that 20% of your time is spent on 80% of your business, or 80% of your time is spent on 20% of your business, or something. I'm not quite sure what the actual stat is, but I think being productive is how to manage your time. You're not just doing things for the sake of doing things. What needs to be a priority. If I've got 10 things to do in the week, I will say here are my top 3, and as long as those get done in the week, well then, I've produced probably active and I'm not super busy. That wasn't a good answer.
No, you said, I think what I heard there to take that away is you're a weekly goal setter. Are you a daily goal setter or just a weekly goal setter?
Oh, I don't even want to talk about that because I can show you spreadsheets.
Oh, okay. So you're like a minute goal setter. That's what I'm hearing. But it's your priority.
I have an annual marketing calendar, and then I break that down by month and day, and then I have I break that down by month, and then I kind of take that and I have a weekly to-do list, and then I break out my weekly to-do list and a daily to-do list. It just keeps me on track, and it makes me take a step back and realize kind of here are my priorities, and here's what absolutely needs to get done this month. If I And it's one of the reasons that I hired a contractor was for me to do all that work. I'd be busy, but I wouldn't be productive. Like I wouldn't actually be accomplishing anything. I would just be keeping my hands busy. And I would end up doing really poor quality work because I just had so much to do. So, I hired her, and now she is killing it, creating content for, my clients. And that gives me a lot more time and energy, a lot of mental energy to dedicate to the magazine.
Hmm. And talk about the importance of mental energy because I think I one of the lessons that I'm preparing to learn. I haven't necessarily nailed this down yet, but I think a myth of entrepreneurship is this idea that it's an 80-hour work week and all of your time has to be on this project. And if it's not on this project that you're doing, then you are failing. If you are sleeping 5 hours, then you're doing it right. Actually, you're not. You're sleeping too much if it's a 5-hour sleep, and all of that. I think there's this real myth out there that the harder that you work, or the more hours that you put in just banging your head at the same thing over and over again, then that will create the success. And not counting in the mental energy part of it.
I think that goes back to being busy and productive. I think being productive, you allow yourself to be more focused on that specific task. And you said if you're sleeping 5 hours a night, you're not doing it right. Like, you're sleeping too much. I think there's a culture around the hustle, and that is, you gotta work 14-hour days. Yeah, sometimes I do put in 14-hour days, but sometimes I put in like 4-hour days just because I need that break. I need to take my mind off of what I'm doing. I think preserving your mental energy is extremely important, because if you lost your mind and you don't give it time to recharge, the work that you're going to put out there is going to be not so great. I found that when I was at the height of my I was using terms like, I'm hustling, I'm working 100 hours a week. I kind of wore that as a badge of honor. And going through that and realizing that I was producing very poor work, that you gotta chill. You gotta take a step back. You gotta preserve what's going on in your mind, because without that, what was I saying to someone the other day? I was saying, your mental health, the most important things. So protecting that mental energy, protecting your mental health, I think is really important to the success of your business and to keep you sane. Honestly, I think back to when I was, last September, when I was working those 100-hour weeks. I was not a good person. I was not happy. I was stressed out all the time. I wasn't treating people very well. And that's no way to live a life. I got into this to serve people. I got into this to better my community. Hustling that much did the opposite. So something needed to change. And I think taking a break and stopping was the key.
And then recharging, and then stepping in again when you're ready.
Right.
Yeah.
I approach my work a lot more slowly right now. It's a lot more strategically it's strategic and methodical, rather than, let's just jump in, get it all done today. There's a little bit more intention behind what I'm doing, and intention takes focus and it takes time, and you can't, I think if you just jump right in and just get busy, for that, usually 2 hours before I have a deadline, that's when I do my best work.
The power of procrastination.
Yeah, I'm really good at it. I'm really good at saying, yep, we'll get this done for you. I'll have it done in a week, and then a day before the week is up, I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to get this strategy out. I got to get this content calendar done. But usually, I always worked really well under pressure. But when you're putting that pressure on yourself, man, that's just, it's a lot. And, when I'm stressed out and I'm so focused on kind of my business, and I'm just not a great person, and no one should be around me. So I've learned that lesson, just take a breath. It's okay. Your business will still be there. The work will still be there. Just take a breath. And I'm in a really interesting industry too. Content marketing is slated to just grow exponentially in the next 3-4 years. So I mean, I'm not gonna be out of work, and the work will be there. My clients will be there. Yeah, no, I won't comment on that. But yeah, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a breath for yourself every once in a while.
It's good to, yes, I think it's it's a good lesson. So let's talk about Bloom. Tell us about it.
Yes.
Yes.
So Bloom is a digital magazine for women entrepreneurs specifically. And the reason that I have chosen to support women entrepreneurs is we share kind of those two things in life. We're women and we're all entrepreneurs, and we approach business very differently. So I wanted to create this resource that was not only providing really good advice and education and support and inspiration for these women, but also on that collaboration aspect and the community aspect. This magazine is not built by me. I have a community of people who are contributing content, who are helping me with the direction of the magazine. This publication is really all about by women entrepreneurs for women entrepreneurs. It's a collective of voices. We all have our own expertise. We all have our own knowledge bases, our own wisdom to share, based on the lessons that we've all individually learned just by being an entrepreneur. So my goal was to take all of that knowledge, pool it into one resource, and then share that out.
Okay. And who would we expect to hear from in this magazine? Like, who are some of the people that have been involved?
Everybody. So I have an article in there, and I'm basically talking a little bit more on the entrepreneurship side of things, and not necessarily the marketing side of things. I have a graphic designer who she actually redid my entire brand. So I wanted her to contribute something on the importance of having a visual brand. And her and I actually partnered on a workshop all about visual storytelling. And I have my business coach who is talking about procrastination, because that woman can kick my ass if I need her to kick my ass, she will. And we did a visioning project in April. It was 2 hours, and we ended up coming up with like a 6-month plan. And one of my dreams on there was to launch a magazine, and I got to check that off. But I don't think I would have had a tight vision if she didn't help me. So she is lending her voice to a lot of that. I have another social media manager who is talking about productivity. And then in the winter edition, she's talking about how social media affects your relationships. I've got a finance blogger on how to budget for your business. I have some nutritional content, so like meal prepping for the busy entrepreneur, with some really delicious recipes. What else do I have in this one? I feel like I'm missing a couple. I apologize to any of my contributors who are currently listening to this, and I missed you. And like in the next issue, we've got setting goals for 2018 and how to the importance of sleep. I've got my friend Shauna Curry wrote an article on sleep for success, and she actually just launched her own book. So that's amazing. She's also like kind of like a coach, health coach. Yes, and the new magazine's like the theme of the magazine kind of ties into whatever months fall in that quarter. So this one's all about kind of getting down to business in your business. And then winter, January, February, March. January is all about setting goals. February is, I kind of want to cap on that Valentine's Day. So love for yourself, love for your clients, love for your business, love for your community. And then March, I don't know why March to me is kind of like the start of spring. So there's a lot of rebirth, how to take care of yourself. So the theme of winter 2018 is new love and care. So it's all about, how to set goals in your business, how to take care of yourself, how to love your clients. So I've got a photographer hopefully coming on board to talk about why photos are necessary to kind of sell your business. I've got my business coach talking about for the new year and how to actually like maintain your goals throughout the year. I've got my spin studio actually is hopefully going to submit an article on the importance of exercise for entrepreneurs. And it's just, I think it's a really good holistic look at not just our lives as entrepreneurs, but our lives as women and kind of our everyday.
And
I think if you ask any entrepreneur, like their business is their everyday. Entrepreneurship is not, something that you do. Is something that you are. It's a lifestyle that you've signed on for.
Yeah, that I completely relate to. Yeah, totally. So it comes out. There's a fall issue, winter issue, spring issue, summer issue. Is that the plan?
Yep. That would be kind of the general idea, so January, February, March would be the winter. Spring would be April, May, June. Summer would be July, August, September. And then that one I'm really hoping to kind of cap on like the happy, because it's summer. So like what makes you happy, happiness in your business, life, etc., etc. And also a lot of people take summer breaks. So I think that'll be a great place to really hit that point home that it's okay to take a break. And then we kind of jump back into fall, which would be October, November, December.
Cool. And how do they find the magazine?
The magazine is hosted on my website, which is bloommag.co.
Bloommag.co. And you have looking at it here, you have a Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram page.
Also, I have a Pinterest page.
And a Pinterest page. Any other pages that you have with the magazine?
LinkedIn. Yep. I'm on all the networks. I'm a social media chick. I'm on all of them. Just even to like test it.
Yeah. YouTube. You have a YouTube channel?
I do, but it's got my tourism video from my tourism class, my Ibiza video for my tourism class.
Oh, I'm gonna go find this when we're done. That's my next assignment. Fine, yeah.
It's really funny.
All right, and then we can follow you at Bourbon and Honey.
Yeah, on Twitter it's at Brittany Brander, and then all the other networks are Bourbon and Honey Co.
Okay. Well, your title of your Twitter account is Bourbon and Honey, though. So if you type in Bourbon and Honey, we'll find you.
Yeah, the handle is Brittany Brander, though.
Okay. All right.
Confuse people too much.
Brander. Yes. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. No, I just like to make sure, because sometimes, this is your story, and then people, if I miss something, I always like to give them the opportunity.
I don't think so.
Okay. So thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
I think that people will be challenged, encouraged, and I think it will allow people to kind of think a little bit about what they're doing. And I think your story is quite inspiring, because I think you've shown a lot of dignity and grace and intelligence, and sometimes in an area that lacks that, I think. I think a perception of...
well, that's really kind. I'll cry.
Oh, that's true. I'm speaking truth. I speak truth. You can follow me.
That's really sweet. Thank you.
You can follow me add me as a friend on Facebook, Kevin Olenick. at Kevole on Twitter, SoundCloud.com, Kevole, Spreaker.com, Kevole, and it's also, I have my own YouTube channel called Kevin Olenick, and on Instagram, Kevole, although I don't use that as much because I have a face.